Welcome to my laboratory. Well, it's actually not my laboratory. It's the front door here to Motha's house. And she comes out the door every morning to pick up her mail. And yeah, the mailman comes right here, right up to her door and puts it in there. And so she uses this door every morning. Well, not every morning, every afternoon after the mail guy gets here. And I'm down here for a few days doing a honeydew list, taking Motha to the dentist and all that kind of good stuff. And I thought, what else can I fix around the house? And I was just checking on this, and it's a little sticky. I can tell it's running hard, and lots of times your deadbolt to your front door or your garage door or the door going outside your garage to the outside, this will start sticking and stuff because it's on the exterior. It gets rusty, it gets water on here, it gets moisture on there, everything starts backing up in here. And this one seems to be running okay. I don't think I'm going to pull that one apart, but I want to pull this apart and clean it and all that kind of stuff. And I don't see any screws on this thing either. Well, if you want to watch me fiddle with this and take this apart, stick around. See, no screws out here. There shouldn't be any screws on the exterior. Most deadbolts, there's a screw here and there. You undo that, that pulls out, nothing. You see any screws? I don't see any. I've got to figure this out. So, another reason why I wanted to make this video. And I started looking at this a little bit closer, and I thought somehow this has to pull out. So I thought maybe there's a screw, and see, sure enough, there is a screw in there. See that? Man, I gotta even get you in there. Look, right there. It's an Allen screw. It's that screw. Okay. And fortunately, I dug and dug and dug. Fortunately, I found something that I think is going to work. I wasn't sure. And most of the time, you know, you get just a few little Allen wrenches like this, and that should do you. But you know, they have all kinds. They have standard, they have metric, and I don't know. This might be metric. These are standard. See, quarter, 7/32, 3/16, 5/32, 1/8, 3/32, 5/64. Would you think that would be small enough to use in there? I thought it would be, but it doesn't really fit in the hole very easily. And then they have metric ones. It might be a metric one, but if I push it in there and hold my mouth just right, it's not really in, but I'm kind of right on the outside edge of everything. And I've unscrewed it, and I can pull that off. Okay. So that's my first step to this, and it's like this still isn't going to just pop off. See, it's still kind of held on there. And if you look around it, generally you'll find something on here. It happens to be right down at the bottom. You see? I don't know if you can see that. There's a little goodie there. You can put your screwdriver under that. Just barely. Just, you know, and pop this thing off. Okay, so that's what I'm going to try next. Now, why am I going through all this effort? I could have left that on there and just sprayed some WD-40 on there, you know, and ran that back and forth. That's it. That's called, you know what that's called? That's called the cheap screw. That's what I call it. I'm trying to hold the camera and stuff. See, you could spray WD-40 on it right there and clean that off and stuff and spray. But I want to pull this off so that I can get on the inside of here. Because if this is all gummy there, chances are, can you see that it extends beyond that into here? If I can pull this off, then I can spray some in there, run it back and forth, clean up anything that might be inside of there too. Okay, that's why I'm going the extra mile here, so to speak. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can't get a little screwdriver here. Oh yeah, that does have a groove there. I think there might be a spring on it. I might be able to push it up. Yeah, there. And that comes off, see? Oh, look at that. Good grief. See, when I pulled that off, there was a notch there, and then there's something underneath that, and I push on that, and it pushed up just enough, and that popped off. And see, there's little dimples in the metal right there, see? So when you go to snap it back on, those dimples concaved on the inside. And so when I put it on, and then I can push it on, and it will kind of snap on there, and this little goodie will kind of hold it too. Okay, but have I ever opened this before? Nope. How old is this house? 20 some odd years old. You see what I'm seeing here? There should be 2 screws like that. There's one, and there's nothing over there. Can you believe that? There should be 2, but you know, they've got it tight enough with one, I guess. They must have lost the other screw, but this should have 2 screws in it. Silly boys. Silly. Can't believe it. All right. Let's just have to remember how to go about this. And I think it's just this one screw. Now, if I really wanted to, I could take this screw down to the hardware store and match it up and get one exactly the same length and all that kind of stuff. And I might do that another time when I'm over here. But the deadbolt seems to have held pretty good all of these years, 20 some odd years. And you might think, is the hardware store going to have something exactly that same length, exactly that same type of thread? Well, most hardware stores do have an area like Home Depot. The Home Depot and Lowe's, they have specialty type screws in little trays, big long trays that you can pull out of a cabinet. And they have all kinds of stuff like that because not all threads are the same. You can't just go to the store and say, oh yeah, I need one with this same thread. Well, what size thread is this? And is it metric or is it standard? You know, all that kind of stuff. And to know if it fits, you take the other screw. I don't have another screw, but if I did, I could hold the threads. I could hold the other one with the threads facing out this way, and I can hold it right up there. And if it's the same, it'll kind of notch right down in there, and you can kind of pull on them. And you think, okay, that's it. When it's not it, you'll be able to tell because it won't be able to fit in there. Did you know that? Or they have at the hardware store, they have a little area with a little thread thing, and you can put this screw into different ones to see which one it is, and then it will tell you which size you need so that you can get the right one. But there should have been 2 of those screws in there, and there wasn't. There's just the one. Okay, so now I just have to be kind of careful. Sometimes, depending on what kind of deadbolt it is, there might be all kinds of parts in there. You pull it apart and you hear the tinkle tinkle, and you've got the little part down on the floor, and you're like, oh, how do I put it back together now? Let's see, I should be able to just pull this out. Okay, that's it. All I have to do is pull that out. I'm not gonna mess with taking that out. I don't have to take it out or anything. I've got this one little piece, okay, and I know exactly how to put it back in. I'm gonna keep that on there. I'm gonna be real careful with that, and I'm just gonna wipe the outside of this and I could probably, I can clean that with something else too, but that's just gonna make it look nice and clean when I get done with this. When I get done with things, I like to have it look like I was never there, you know? Okay, so now that I got that far, see, this is how it's gonna look in there, see? And I'm not gonna do anything else with that. Now I can reach in there. Can you see I can reach in there with my silicone, well, my spray and stuff. Some deadbolts have an inside housing bit that fits in there, and then that might even have some screws on it to mount on there before you put the plate on. And some of the top plates might be finished like that, and those are your finished screws when you get all done. You know, so they don't create all deadbolts equal per se, okay? So look at yours and figure it out, and be careful when you disconnect it like that, take it apart. All right, now we're getting ready to clean it.